Tonight we're speaking with Death Dealer drummer Steve Bolognese. Am I pronouncing your name right, Steve?
Yeah, Bolognese.
Okay, and of course, like I said, you're a drummer these days in Death Dealer, and I know you're not an original member of a band. I was curious, how did you hook up with these guys?
Mutual friend recommended me looking for a drummer.
Okay, and of course, you're in a band with some pretty big name players. You, of course, play along with Sean Peck, Mike Davis, Stu Marshall, and Ross Sabasso. Kind of being the new guy in the band, I was curious, could you tell us a little bit about what you did prior to Death Dealer?
Yeah, lots of stuff, but, for a while I was in a band called Into Eternity, which was a Canadian metal band. I played in another Canadian metal band called Baptized in Blood for a short period of time. And yeah, that's been my metal band experience.
Okay.
Actually, before Into Eternity, I was also in a band called Beyond the Embrace, which was a metal blade band. They haven't been around in a while, but those are the three bands that I spent some time touring with.
Okay, so are you originally from Canada?
No, I'm from Boston.
Boston, okay. And now let me ask you, how old were you when you first started playing the drums?
I was about 13 or 14.
And I would like to ask people, what made you pick the drums as your instrument of choice?
Well, everyone in like the 7th grade was starting a band, so everyone had already decided what instruments they were going to play, and no one had signed up for drums. And I guess I used to just bang on the desk a lot, so they assumed that I could handle that. So I said, yeah, I play the drums. And then I guess, I don't even know.
Okay.
Yeah, I had to figure out a way to get a kit. It was probably a year after that I started actually saved up money and got a kit. Because I had started taking lessons when I had nothing to practice on except for pillows, So I was taking lessons, but I had no drum set to practice on. So we were just working on, hand movements and stuff like that.
And so that must have been a pretty big deal once you got your first kit. What memories do you have of that, getting your first kit and beating on the, an actual drum set for the first time?
Yeah, this guy helped me get it, a friend of my family. We found it in the war dads. We found it was a Ludwig Feasterite, like John Bonham used to play. It was a black one. It was like a 7-piece kit. We went to this dude's house up in his attic, and it was the black one. And yeah, I remember actually walking up to the dude's basement, his attic, because he had a bunch of like Slayer posters and all these cutouts from these like Hit Parade and Metal Edge magazines.
Yeah, I remember. I remember those.
That he had. So
wow.
I remember buying it from a metalhead, and because I was into those bands at that time too,
Well,
so that was it. Got that. I had that for a few years, and then got something else.
Wow, yeah, you remember back in the day when they had those magazines, these days all they pretty much have is, all you can pretty much find on the newsstands like Guitar World magazine, and that's going back a way. So let me ask you, what's it like to play in a band with guys like, Ross Sabasso? He's probably the most known of the whole group, legendary guy from Manowar. Were you much of a Manowar fan growing up?
When I first heard them, I was a fan of a few songs that they used to play on this college radio station. I didn't know the legendary band that they were at the time. I just knew them as Manowar, another band that I liked some songs by. But yeah, they're over the top, definitely, my roommate's got a Manowar tattoo. He lives by that stuff, so, it's epic metal, and it's, they're actually playing here, I think, on Saturday, playing here in California, so, yeah, no, I didn't, they weren't like my favorite band like most people, but I definitely dug what I heard, so.
Yeah, of course you said, you've done some bands prior to Death Dealer, so, you're just as experienced as the rest of the guys, but let me ask you, what's it feel like to, being a band with musicians that have reached that level. I mean, it must be a great feeling to feel like you've finally kind of arrived, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. The guys are awesome, I don't think too much about anything, though, as long as people are cool, and good musicians, I enjoy playing with them, and, yeah.
And of course, Death Dealer, I know, is putting the finishing touches on their second album, and of course, this is your first album with these guys. But I was curious. You said you kind of got hooked up with the band through a mutual friend. Did you have to audition for the band, or did you kind of just get the gig through being recommended?
Yeah. I didn't audition. I just said that I would do it, and that was pretty much it.
And so, like, once you joined the band, did it take you long to learn the older material, like from that appears on the debut album?
Well, there's only one album, so no, I guess not too long.
And now, what was it like to be part of this, new album? Because I understand one of the things you guys are getting ready to do is, I think in March or April, I was told you guys are going to be opening up for the Metal All Stars tour.
Yeah.
And so, is there going to be much rehearsing going into that?
I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't know what we have for time. Hopefully, everyone just does their homework, and we'll put it together when we see each other.
Okay. And I was curious. Growing up, who were the drummers that influenced you, that made you want to pick up the sticks and take a shot at being a drummer?
Way back when, wow. Well, for sure. My first concert was Pantera White Zombie, and the Deftones opened up that show. That was in '96. So those were Pantera White Zombie were two of my favorite bands. It's probably the best concert I could have ever asked for at that point. Metallica, Lars, Vinnie Paul,
Wow.
John Tempesta was playing with White Zombie at that time. I was into Megadeth, so at that age, I was into that kind of thing. Anthrax, Charlie, and and then it's all changed. I mean, it's evolved, and I still am a fan of that stuff too. But now, it's a lot of different cats, playing different styles of music. Vinny Colaiuta, Dave Wacko, Gary Novak, Tom Breckline, Steve Gadd, the classics, a lot of jazz drummers too, and all sorts of stuff,
Oh, okay. That's great. Now, talk a little bit about the new album you guys are making. I mean, from what I understand, a lot of it's already been recorded. Is there much left to put together?
We're putting on some finishing touches on it. Most of it is pretty much done, except for I haven't recorded any drums yet. But in terms of the songs, the rough ideas are pretty much done for about, I think, 9 songs or so. And Sean and Stu and those guys, Russ, have been really working on it. So I'm gonna start to organize my ideas and get ready to record some drums for it.
And now let me ask you, like when you guys record, typically aren't the drums the first thing, or how does that work in Death Dealer?
Well, that's how it typically was when we used to record most of the time. Not with Death Dealer, but anything I've done in the past. Yeah, drums are always the first thing. With this, the way it's getting done because of the powers of the internet and whatnot. It's not necessarily, it doesn't have to work like that. All I need is a click track, and we can send the files back, and so they've already come up with the rest of the song. I can record my drums either electronically or in the studio, and then send the files.
Okay.
You can mix it and put it all in together, and so it doesn't have to get done in that order exactly.
And so let me ask you, Steve, what do you remember from your very first show you guys did together, once you joined up with these guys?
Which one?
Well, I like talk a little bit about your first show you ever did with Death Dealer. I mean, that must have been like one of the greatest moments in your life, if you know what I mean.
I haven't done my first show at Death yet.
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Because I thought you guys had done some shows in Hollywood recently.
They did. I wasn't. That was with Rhino. I wasn't in the band at that point.
Okay. So now let me ask you, like, in reference to playing the older material, from a debut album, are you kind of allowed the freedom, kind of put your own spin on the tunes, or were you kind of told to, kind of play those tracks the way Rhino played on them?
No, they're pretty encouraging to kind of, no, I don't have to play it note for note the way Rhino played it. I have creative freedom pretty much to do what I want, but I'm going to play the songs. I'm not worried about playing what Rhino played. I'm worried just playing the songs, You play what the other drummer played, or you play the song. Those are your two different options, and I'm just going to play the song. So most of it's going to be very similar to what you hear on the record, but
and from
I
what
play things a little differently every night anyway. I'm not so worried about exactly what anyone else did.
Yeah. Now I understand. The other guys all got other projects going on in addition to Death Dealer. I was curious. Do you have anything else you're currently involved in that you'd like to talk about?
No.
And so when you're not performing with Death Dealer, like, do you have a regular 9 to 5 job, or what do you do outside of the band?
No, I'm just I teach a lot, so that's what I've been doing. That's kind of my day gig.
Oh, so you teach music as far as drumming to other people, huh?
Yeah.
And how do you get most of your students? Like, people hook up with you through the internet, or?
Yeah, I guess just word of mouth references. However, I don't really do too much advertising. Sometimes I'll be over. There's a school right next to my house that I go over and I teach over there sometimes.
And that must be a great feeling, being able to teach other people, kind of your craft and how to play music. I mean, what's that like for you, seeing it from the other end?
Yeah, I love it. I love teaching. I've been doing it for a while. I still take lessons myself, so I haven't stopped studying myself. It's cool. I love it. I love helping the students and trying, especially where I see that they may run into a problem, because I used to run into a million problems, and so sometimes I think it's easier for me to identify that some potential problems for students and help them, fix it before it becomes a problem.
And typically,
I just, I took a million lessons, and some people helped me out. It took me a while to really get the hang of it, so I wasn't a natural by no means. So I think it just helps in me explaining things to another student in a kind of clear way.
And like when people come to you take lessons, they typically come to you telling you, hey, I'd like to learn how to play these songs, or do you kind of just teach them more technique and this is how you play the drums, this is what you got to do, and what's the usual teaching method?
I just tell them to bang around until something sounds good. No, they don't come to me wanting to learn how to play any specific songs usually. That's kind of like I don't know. I kind of give them the material that will help them play thousands of songs instead of just one song a week.
Yeah, and I was curious, would you ever be interested in doing like drum type clinics, or even like putting out an instructional video or anything like that?
I've done some clinics. There's a million instructional videos out there already. I don't think I need to do one. Really, I don't. Whatever.
I hear you. And so, what are you looking forward to the most? I mean, you guys got the Metal All Stars tour coming up. You got the, and I understand that new album's probably going to be out in the summer. Is that correct?
Hopefully, yeah.
And so once you guys get done with the Metal All Star tours, you guys plan on touring other parts of the world?
Yeah, they're trying to put some stuff together. I think in September maybe go back to Europe. Maybe some stuff over here in the States. I'm not sure of when and whatnot. You know, still trying to get all that stuff sorted out. Try to take care of this first tour.
Yeah. And are you are you endorsed by anybody? You playing any specific set of drums?
Yeah. I'm with Pearl Drums, Sabian cymbals, Axis makes my bass drum pedals, and Vic Firth are the drumsticks that I play.
Okay, well, it's been great talking to you, Steve. Is there anything else you'd like to say before we let you go?
Not particularly, no. Everything's good. Hope to see everyone out on the road, over in Europe for this Metal All Stars tour.
Okay, well, once again, thanks, Steve. We'll be looking forward to the new Death Dealer CD when it gets released this summer and seeing you guys on the road. So much luck with that, and keep my contact info, and anytime you want to do this, feel free to get in touch with me. And again, this interview will be going up sometime in March. I'll let your publicist Benjamin know the minute it goes up.
Oh, great. Appreciate it.
Okay, take care, my friends. It's been great talking to you. Bye-bye.